What is going on, guys? Pilot Flame back with another stream. And today we're going to be looking at Fantasy Premier League's Game Week 7. We're going to look at how I did in Game Week 6. We got the new graphics going on today, so it's looking a lot better than before. I'm still trying to work out some things, still trying to see what it looks like. I won't have the graphics for my FPL set up on the screen. I'm still waiting for the text back so I can do individual letters and basically change that for like when I have my points up on the screen and that sort of stuff. So we'll still be using the same old there. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. Like the cool little animation there. So we got the same setup here. So this will change hopefully next week once I get all the lettering and that sort of stuff sorted out. So yeah, overall a very good game week for us. We had a rank increase from, I believe it was around 800k. Let's actually check here. So we'll go to view game week history because this is what it's all about. So last week, as you can see here, we were 665k and we are now at 211k, so cut our rank down by over 2/3 by the looks of it. Yeah, looking quite nice indeed. So let's get a run through the team and we'll see how we did, and then we'll go through what my picks and predictions were. I have those on a snippet tool just off to the side here. So let's run through the team. So we had Pope getting the clean sheet. Obviously very nice versus Norwich. Obviously would have liked it the other way around, where Cantwell and Pookie to score, and he would have racked up a few saves. But the clean sheet nonetheless was fine by me. At least he still got points that way. Obviously Robertson doing quite well, getting himself an assist. Getting some bonus points there. They still got two good fixtures coming up this week and next week, and then a little bit of a rough patch, but then open seas afterwards. So 8 points from him. Digne, a very disappointing. If we look at their last few games, obviously he's played pretty much 90 minutes in every game except for the Watford at home game. Had two good ones to start, then very disappointing versus Aston Villa. Then luckily got an assist in the Wolves game, then just was terrible again, and then terrible overall. Everton's defensive record is not great at the moment, and you'll see what we've done with him later on in the stream. So my initial lineup was, I had Sterling on. I had Sterling on. I did start Greenwood. I had Sterling and Zinchenko in the team. Over actually no I didn't have Greenwood. I can't remember actually. Okay, basically I had Sterling in. Sterling was captain, De Bruyne was vice captain. I had the midfield. I think I had Cantwell on the bench. That's what it was. I had Cantwell on the bench because I didn't want him to go against Pope rather, and I wanted Pookie to score, obviously, if that were to happen. And then once I found out that Zinchenko wasn't playing and not even in the team, then I knew that Lundstrom was coming in. Sterling, obviously praying that he didn't play because of the madness that De Bruyne did. We got him as the captain, so that worked out quite well. And then in place of Sterling not playing, or Zinchenko, we got Lundstrom and Cantwell's points, which obviously was a massive point swing. Yeah, Lundstrom, clean sheet, assist, pretty good. Pretty good. Soyuncu, obviously, played against Tottenham. They did get the win. Which was good. Obviously, didn't get any returns after that, but they do have an amazing run of fixtures all the way up until the middle of the Christmas period, which we're going to want to keep him for. And then it's game week 8 and game week 12 that we're kind of looking at potentially, not playing him because he obviously has a not as great of a fixture, but we can see what we're going to be doing with that rotation wise after the fact. Salah didn't choose to captain him this week, and rightly so. We got De Bruyne instead, or Sterling, but Sterling obviously didn't play. Salah got the assist. It was always going to be a cagey affair. It was always going to be something to where both teams are going to have their own portion of the ball. Chelsea actually, for the majority of the game, probably playing slightly better than Liverpool, but Liverpool obviously getting the victory in the end. Son getting an assist, you know, very underwhelming performance from Spurs. Had a goal disallowed to the VAR, then conceded. So anyone who had Aurier, I feel sorry for you. It was unlucky. I believe my brother had Aurier as well. So on his wild card, so that would have been really cool. That ended up being from like 14 points to like 1 or something like that. It was like 13-point swing. It was a bit crazy. Cantwell obviously picking up the 2. We got him off the bench. Them not doing very well away from home. De Bruyne obviously getting 2 assists, clean sheet point, and a goal, and maximum bonus points. That's what we like to see. And we got him as the vice captain, which means we got 34 points from KDB. Greenwood not playing. This was a shocker. I thought he would play. He's probably going to have to play this week because there's no Martial. Likely no Rashford, and likely no Pogba as well. So hopefully we can see him play, and at least I'll get some points off the bench if somebody doesn't happen to play. And then Pukki obviously not doing anything against Burnley, much like Cantwell. And then obviously here's the 2 that made way for Lundstrom and Cantwell. Obviously Lundstrom swapping in for Zinchenko and Cantwell swapping in for Sterling, which means the captain went on De Bruyne, which is why we got so many points this week. So that overall was around, let's see, 17 plus 12, I want to say. It was like a 20-something point swing, something crazy like that, which is I think I'll take that. I think we'll take that. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. So yeah, so let's go. So Zinchenko came in for Lundstrom. Sterling came out for Soyuncu. Oh, that's right. I had Soyuncu on the bench because he was against Spurs. So I did start Greenwood because I thought he would play, but Soyuncu came in, and then Greenwood obviously didn't get any points, and Wickham is obviously out. So if we run through, let's look at the fixtures here. So I'm gonna bring up my tweet on the side here so we can compare. We can compare side by side here. So I actually got the Bournemouth game exactly right. Last minute fumble by Southampton, allowing Callum Wilson to score. Got the 3-1, so that's right. So we got 3 points for that. Let me get my notebook. I think I wrote down the exact score. Where are we going here? Yeah, here we go. So we got 3 points for that. The Leicester versus Spurs. I said Spurs would win 3-1. They didn't, so we get they lost 2-1, so we get no points for that. So there'll be 1-1 between Burnley and Bournemouth. That didn't happen. It was 2-0 Burnley, so they play quite well. Norwich obviously showing way better form at home than away from home. So that's unfortunate there. We'll take that in consideration with our predictions for this week. Everton versus Sheffield United, rather. I said it would be 2-0 Everton. It was actually the opposite way around. 2-0 Sheffield United. So we didn't get anything there. I said 3-0 to Man City versus Watford. I got the result right, but obviously didn't expect 8. Newcastle Brighton, we got another one right. 0-0. I knew this game looked boring on paper, and anyone who went to the game or watched it, you deserve your money back. All things considered. Crystal Palace versus Wolves. I said Wolves would win 2-1. They actually barely scraped the draw, 1-1. United West Ham. I thought it should be a fairly comfortable United win. Clearly was not. 2-0 to West Ham, so we got that one wrong. 2-2 Arsenal Aston Villa. Almost had that one right in the end. And then the 2-1 Liverpool over Chelsea. I got that one exactly right. So overall this week we got a total of we got 3 points for the Liverpool, 1 right. 3 for the Newcastle, 1 right. 1 for the result right for Man City, and 3 points for the Southampton Bournemouth 1 right. So overall we got 10 points for guessing things right. In versus Game Week 5, where we only got 6 points rather. So we're improving, steadily improving. I'm gonna make a note of that actually now. So Game Week 5 was 6. Game Week 6 was 10. So hopefully we can get more. Out of 10 games total, you can get, if I get all of them right, I got 30 points, obviously, but obviously that's a bit unrealistic. If we ever did that, we should go betting. Do gamble responsibly. And then we went for our differential, so clean sheet Everton. That obviously was terrible. If we go to Newcastle, goalkeeper Dubravka, that was a good one. We got a clean sheet for him. Tomori Chelsea, you know, that was just one I kind of picked there just because it was potentially something going from this week forward. Obviously, didn't work out versus Liverpool, but still a bright prospect. Grealish versus Aston Villa. He got an assist in the game and played quite well. And then Keane, rather, from Everton. Tried to combine Everton and Keane there at the same time. How did Keane do? Did he even play at all? Let's go to... I'm just going to go to transfers. We shall go to Everton. Did Keane even play? He played 90 minutes and did absolutely nothing. Alright, fantastic. So, not the greatest, but he did play. He did play, so that's better than nothing, I guess. Better than nothing. So let's move this back down to here. So yeah, overall, some scores that people expected, some scores that people didn't expect. Nobody probably expected Man City to win 8-0, but they probably expected them to win. Nobody probably expected United to lose, but they did. Everton lost, which was a shocker. Leicester winning over Spurs was, I mean, you could have said could have gone either way. Chelsea losing to Liverpool, that was probably bound to happen, but it was a lot closer than people thought. So Chelsea's youth system with the likes of Mount and Abraham and those sorts of players, they should have actually probably scored very early on when it was 0-0. They also had a goal disallowed by VAR because I believe it was Mount that was like a foot offside. So yeah, it was definitely an interesting game. So, what do we have to look forward to this week? Well, we have our team currently, and I'm actually going to do one change right off the bat, which is where's it to? We're going to put Greenwood ahead of Wickham, because we know that Greenwood has a very high chance of playing, and we want him first. And if Wickham does somehow play, we want him ahead of Lundstrom, because we don't want Lundstrom to come on the field. Because this is against Liverpool, and we expect Liverpool to do very, very bad things to Sheffield United. So currently, we have this setup going on here. We're playing a 4-5-1. So let's take a look at the fixtures, and then we can see all the, then we can refer back to my team. So let me actually, let's bring up a little notepad. We got the technology here. Let's bring up a little notepad, and we'll put it along the side here. So we have Sheffield United. Can I make this font bigger at all? Yeah, let's not use a notepad. Can we use something else? Can we use something else here? Notepad++? What's this look like? Can I make the text bigger? No. Alright, Notepad's gonna have to do. Notepad will have to do. Oh, format? Font? Oh, here we go. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. Haven't used Notepad in a while. So we have Sheffield United versus Liverpool. How do I see this game panning out? I think this should be easily a Liverpool win. I don't think that Liverpool will keep a clean sheet just because of the grittiness of Sheffield United. So I think this is going to be a 4-1 victory to Liverpool. Starting off with the 3 o'clock games, England time. Aston Villa, Burnley. Aston Villa a lot better at home, and they seem to kind of flip-flop back forward. Win-loss, 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 win-loss. You know, I think there could be goals in this game, but I think Burnley are just annoying. So I can see this just being a 1-1. AV 1-1 Burnley. I can just see it being a 1-1. Unfortunately, yeah, I could just see it being a 1-1. Either that or probably Aston Villa 1-0. But Burnley always seem to score just the most annoying times away from home as well. Obviously, I'd like to keep a clean sheet because I have Pope, but I don't see it happening. Bournemouth versus West Ham. I think there could be goals in it because both teams don't really know how to defend. Even though, I mean, United was rubbish against West Ham, but West Ham will eventually start to concede because their backline's not that good. So I can see this being a 2-2 between the two teams. Is that how they do Aston Villa? Sure, why not? We'll go with that. We'll make it nice and symmetrical. Nice, everything lined up all nice. Now we have Chelsea versus Brighton. This should be a very comfortable win. Chelsea have a great run of fixtures going on here. I can see Chelsea winning this game. I'll say 3-1. I'll say Brighton will get a goal because I don't think Chelsea's backline is that settled, especially now that Rudiger's out and has no date of return with a same injury. I think it was rushed back too early. Now we have Crystal Palace versus Norwich. Norwich obviously not as great away from home. I think Pukki will get back on the score sheet, but I don't think that Norwich will keep a clean sheet. I think this one could also be a draw, but I'm gonna go bold here. I'm gonna say that Palace aren't great, and I'm gonna say that it's gonna be a 2-1 Norwich win. Spurs versus Southampton. This is a game that Spurs need to win. They obviously lost midweek in the cup. You know, they haven't been playing particularly well, but they need a bounce back, and at home they typically seem to be doing that. Over the last year, especially with the new stadium as well, the kind of the hype around that. So I'm going to say Spurs I don't think will keep a clean sheet, but I do see a 3-1 win for Spurs. Wolves versus Watford, the battle of the two teams down the bottom. Wolves struggling with the inability to keep their players healthy. In terms of match fitness, they seem to be a lot more tired. I wouldn't say healthy is the correct term. They're lacking fitness because they're playing midweek, they're playing on the weekend, and they're not used to that with the Europa League. Whereas teams like United, Spurs, Chelsea, you know, all these teams they play Champions League, they play Europa League, they know how to balance that. Whereas we saw this with Burnley last season. Burnley's doing a lot better this season for the most part, whereas last season they weren't doing too great because they had Europa League football. Wolves are coming across the same problems and are playing a good bit of their defensive side of things in the Europa League as well as in the Premier League. So I think this could be a game where Watford would want to bounce back. Obviously losing 8-0 to City, pretty embarrassing. But I don't think both teams will be satisfied with this, and I think it's just going to be a 1-1 between the two teams. Everton versus Man City. This game could end up like the Watford game as well. The Watford City game from last week. Everton has been terrible defensively. And City are obviously just gonna want to continue what they did last week. I see this being a 4-0 win for Manchester City. I just don't think Everton are good at all, unfortunately. Leicester versus Newcastle. This should be pretty straightforward for Leicester. I think they'll keep a clean sheet in this one as well. So that's a spoiler for my clean sheet for the week. And I think Leicester should beat Newcastle pretty handily. And I say this is going to be a 3-0 win. And we're going to be looking for Iosi Perez to get his first goal for Leicester. And it's going to be against his old team, unfortunately. And then the last game of the week, it is Manchester United versus Arsenal, the old rivals, my team. Not doing too hot. United, very bad. It looks like we're not going to have all our main players. So Rashford's a big doubt. Martial probably won't be back till the international break now. Apparently, I guess a setback of some kind. And Pogba picked up a knock to where his ankle was quite swollen. Another reason why he, excuse me, didn't take a penalty during the penalty shootout against Rochdale midweek. So this is going to be a tough one to call. My heart's trying to tell me for a United win. I think I don't think United will lose this game because we always seem to step it up, especially against Arsenal. Arsenal haven't won at Old Trafford since I think the stat was either 2006 or 2008. And Jesse Lingard will probably play, and he usually dances all over Arsenal. So I'm gonna be bold here. I'm gonna say United bounce back. Excuse me, and we're gonna go with a pretty normal scoreline for these types of games. 2-1 Manchester United against Arsenal, and we'll even go with the goals as well. I think that Mason Greenwood will get one of those goals, and then the other goal will come from finally a corner against Arsenal's terrible defense against set pieces, and Harry Maguire will get his first goal for United. And we'll also say that Aubameyang, typical of him, will score against United, even though he doesn't typically do very well against the top six. We'll just make this a little bit bigger here, because then we'll move down onto clean sheet. So the clean sheet for the week is going to be Leicester. I believe that Leicester is going to keep a clean sheet. Obviously, they're against Newcastle. Newcastle is potentially one of the relegation teams. Yeah, I just don't see any way that Newcastle score versus Leicester, because especially the second half performance versus Spurs. Soyuncu and Johnny Evans just showed that they're developing a pretty good partnership there. Soyuncu has very rash moments, but he's obviously not fully refined and not fully adjusted to the Premier League yet. But against Newcastle, I expect him to keep a clean sheet. For our goalkeeper pick for the week, we are gonna go with, I believe Kasper Schmeichel is under 5%. Let's just double check that. Just gonna minimize that. Let's go to players here. So Leicester, Kasper Schmeichel, 6.6, close enough. We'll go with old Kasper here. So how do we pronounce this? Schmeichel. And that's versus Leicester. Oh, that's for Leicester, rather. In terms of defender, now we obviously want somebody who's probably going to keep a clean sheet. That's obviously going to be Manchester City or Newcastle. Now, I'm going to go with the Man City game, but I'm not going to go with the defender that people might think I'll be going with. A lot of people may be saying, oh yeah, you're going to go with Otamendi. Nope, because he's going to be fairly highly owned. I'm going to go with a differential, which seems odd for a Man City player. But I think I'm going to go with this guy, Benjamin Mendy. Now, he's played 45 minutes in the Watford game. Came on as a sub or was dragged off at halftime. One of the two. As far as I know. And if we look at Zinchenko, his minutes he didn't play at all. He wasn't even in the squad. So I want to think that Benjamin Mendy is especially playing. I believe he played. Did he play midweek? I can't remember now. But we'll go with Benjamin Mendy. He's very low owned, and if he does start for City, I can easily see them keeping a clean sheet, potentially an attacking return for him there. In terms of midfield, we want somebody who's going to potentially score. We want somebody who's going to be doing quite well for themselves, especially in a game where there's potentially a lot of goals or something of that sort. Looking at the games here, I'm going to go with somebody from Spurs. He's not. I don't think he's very highly owned currently. I think he's only around 9%. Yeah, so 9%, still under 10%. So we're gonna go with Heung-min Son of Spurs, even though I think Spurs have been playing crap. But if it's going to be somebody that's gonna basically make him an essential pick again, Heung-min Son is going to be the one to do that. And then forwards this week, if we look through all the teams, someone potentially low owned. Not too sure. I think this is the type of game that potentially Jimenez, you know, obviously I said 1-1, but he may be the one that gets that goal. But you want somebody who's going to score a lot, you know, in these games. So we'll go with Mason Greenwood, I think, because he's bound to start this game. He's 17. He is highly owned, but he's a differential in that regard because you have to actually play him. We'll go with Mason Greenwood. I picked him a couple of times. I think I picked him the week before last. Somehow he went down in price, which makes no sense because if he scores, that'll be great. But unlucky for the price drop there, which I actually just noticed. I wonder when he went down. Curious to know when. Anywho, so that's gonna be my my picks for clean sheets and differentials this week. Hopefully they pan out, because if they do, that means my team probably did well. So, all right. So we'll move that off the screen now. We'll move this back into place where it was from before, right there. And then we'll go back to the team. So, we got our team up on the screen here. So, like we said, we'll run through the players that we have in the lineup currently. We have Pope versus Aston Villa. Potentially a draw. Hopefully getting a clean sheet there. But like I said, Aston Villa better at home. Robertson, I expect him to do well versus Sheffield United. We have the armband on Salah as well, so we'll just pair them together because we're Liverpool. I don't think there's a better captain option this week, except maybe City, but again, Everton may just show up all of a sudden. So, but I think this is almost a guaranteed return there. With the City assets, we have Otamendi, De Bruyne, and Sterling. Sterling playing midweek, getting subbed off before the 90 minutes expired. Didn't play on the weekend versus Watford, which actually came in our benefit. But I do think he will start this weekend, and especially against the Everton side that are poor defensively and they're very inconsistent up front. I see Man City doing quite well in this game. Soyuncu for Leicester is playing pretty good. I expect him to keep a clean sheet. Like I said, that's the one I've been backing this week, and I think Soyuncu will do well in that regard. In terms of our transfers, one of our transfers this week was we brought in Rico. The other one was Otamendi. So we subbed out Zinchenko for Otamendi, straight swap. We got him before the price rise, and we brought in Rico for Digne. Right, we got rid of Digne. So we have a decent bit of money in the bank. So we could do another transfer, but that would require a hit. And I don't think it's necessary. I still want to wait on the likes of Chelsea to see what they do against the smaller teams. Overall, I'm looking at the likes of Tomori. I'm looking at the likes of Mason Mount. I'm looking at the likes of Abraham. I know they've gone up quite a bit, but it's potentially something to where if Son doesn't perform, he could be out the door. So that could be a straight swap. I know I can do Son out for Mason Mount, and then swap out Wickham for Tammy Abraham. And then if we wanted to, we could have Sterling swapped for Aguero for whoever else. If we felt that Sterling wasn't going to be starting every game and Aguero was in the Premier League. Crystal Palace away for the two Norwich boys, Cantwell and Pukki. Hopefully looking for something there. I'm tempted to do something like this, just so I have a little bit of spread. But Solskjaer said that, well, he may not play Greenwood. He may do something stupid where he plays Jesse Lingard, you know, as a false nine. He could easily play Dan James out on the left, Lingard false 9, Mata out on the right, and then play like Fred, Matic, McTominay or something nonsensical like that. So I'm just going to stick with this and just keep Greenwood as the placeholder on the bench in the event that he does play. I may change my mind and just bring it in, but it usually, if Pookie scores, Cantwell is usually somewhere in the mix. Son, home fixture versus Southampton. I'm tempted to give him the armband. Last time I did that, he didn't do anything. So I think I'm going to just keep it on Salah and just hope he does really well, and then it'll make my decisions even harder, because I still want Chelsea assets going into the fixtures that they have. I'm actually quite nervous about, a couple of players this week, one of which being Aguero, and the other one being Tammy Abraham, or Mount. You can kind of group them in the same thing, but a Chelsea attacker and Aguero specifically are the two that I'm worried about, and I just have to hope that Son matches their output, and that Cantwell potentially matches the likes of Mason Mount's output. So, because if Pookie scores and he gets the assist, I'm already happy. And then looking to the bench, we obviously have Button, who's not going to play. We have Greenwood as our first sub. We have Wickham as our second sub. He's probably not going to play based on the press conferences, but we'll put him second just because in the event that he does, him scoring doesn't affect. I mean, it loses a point for Cantwell, but who knows? And then we obviously want Lundstrom at the very back because we think that Liverpool are going to do pretty bad things versus the likes of Sheffield United. Out of all the people that I'm worried about not playing, I think the only people that have a very it's a very small percentage chance, but they might not play, is Sterling again. And then maybe Son comes off the bench or something. But they need Son to play because Son is their best player at the moment for Spurs. And if he doesn't start, then I'm just questioning Pochettino's just everything right now. And a lot of Spurs fans are turning on him a bit. A lot of fans are not too happy. Haven't won an away game since January, which is actually worse than United's record at the moment. United has won. Last one was in February. That was away from home. So people give a lot of stick to Arsenal fans for not winning away from home. Spurs, you probably need to look in the mirror and take a long, hard look at what you guys are doing over there as well. So yeah, that's the lineup for this week. So if we go to the transfers, we have 2.3 million in the bank. We brought in Rico, like I said, for Digne. We brought in Otamendi in for Zinchenko. And like I said, the moves that we can do is we can do the likes of Wickham out. Let me just bring this down a little bit. Wickham out and Son out, and we can do the Chelsea boys. We can bring in the likes of Mason Mount, and we can bring in the likes of Abraham if we wanted to, with plenty of money to spare. We can then put that investment. So let's say if we wanted to remove Sterling as an example, we could bring in the likes of Sergio Aguero, and then we have 6.5 in the midfield. Midfielders. So we can look for the likes of, maybe someone like McGinn. We can look for the likes of Dan James if United start playing well again. Or we can restore Sterling, and then we can bring in the likes of, where's the man, the myth, the legend, Ashley Barnes. We can bring in Ashley Barnes if we wanted to, but that's obviously 0.1 million off. So it all depends on what goes on this week. That would be for a -8 potentially, but that's something that could be done. Could also just be a wild card scenario. It could be something to where so if we reset currently, how many players will we swap out? Well, do we have any 3.9 million goalkeepers? I'm not even sure. And that would be one potential restructure there. We have 4.1s. We could bring in McGovern because he's playing over Tim Krul currently. So we would do something like, we would go like this. The only thing is we couldn't bring in another Norwich player. We would potentially look to get rid of Potentially Otamendi, even though we just brought him in, and we could bring in somebody like Tomori, who's a bit cheaper. We could go for something like this. So we go Chelsea, we go to Tomori, put him in there, alleviates a little bit more cash. We can remove the likes of Son because we think Spurs are rubbish at the time, let's say. We go to Chelsea, we add in Mason Mount. We go to remove the likes of Wickham and Greenwood, and then we can bring in Chelsea forward Tammy Abraham. And then we have no money for Aguero. So we would have to drop the likes of, if we're thinking that Sterling isn't good enough, we can potentially look at City mids right now. So David Silva 7.6, Rodrigo, Gundogan, you know, those sorts of price points are something that we can't meet. Just a bit too short on cash there. So if we're looking at just midfielders overall, let's look at the 7.5. So like I said, McGinn, maybe the likes of James Maddison potentially. Go with that. If we wanted to, could be something in that as well. Does that team look a little bit better than what we currently have? It's a bit more balanced overall, a bit light in defensive side of things, but I don't think defenders are, you know, doing quite well at the moment, as much as the attackers are. But that's just something for the future, and that would require what's that, 6 transfers. So that's definitely worth a wild card, but we'll have to see. We're not in those dire straits as of yet. So yeah, I think those 2 transfers are the only ones I'm gonna make. So like I said, it was Rico in for Digne. It was Otamendi in for Zinchenko. So something that I could still do that I was still contemplating was Son in, or Son out and Wickham out for Mount and Abraham. That was something that I could potentially do as well. At this moment in time, I also can bring in Mount for Cantwell if I wanted to right now. So yeah, we just want Cantwell to go up 1 more so we can get a little bit more value out of him. That's what we want. So yeah, this is the team right now. So Pope in goal, Robertson, Otamendi, Soyuncu, Rico in the back line, Son, De Bruyne, Sterling, Salah, and Cantwell in the midfield, and Pukki leading the line with the all-important Mason Greenwood first substitution, and Lundstram as far down the bench as possible because we think Liverpool are going to do well. But yeah, I think that is gonna do it for today. We're just gonna swap the graphics over here. Usually we'll have the chat just above me. I'm still doing some stuff here, but if you like the stream, make sure to follow it. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up when it goes live on the YouTube channel. You could see your name potentially, oh, wrong way, that way, down in, I don't even know how to point that way, but you know what I mean. It's over there. Over there. You could have your name down in there as soon. You could potentially see, well, maybe I'll put a little FPL logo up there of some kind. But yeah, we're just changing some things around, so make sure to give the video a thumbs up. It's going to be out in a little bit. But for now, it's a good night from me. And wherever you are in the world, it's a good day. Hopefully it's a good day or a good night, good afternoon, good morning. And we'll see you in the next one. See ya.